Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Uh, Thank you to all our witnesses for sharing your testimony today. And Dr. Clancy, I agree with you that we must protect intellectual property, especially with the critical emerging technologies. Many of these new technologies are being developed in my state of California. As a member of Ways and Means Committee, I have been fighting hard to allow U.S. companies to expense their R&D. I also be leading efforts to ensure that our tax system will allow companies to keep and move IP back to the United States. Dr. Clancy, you mentioned that you must reconsider our globalized trade relationship with supply chains. I agree. This committee's recent economic report included my bill, the Medical Supply Chain Resilience Act, which would allow the U.S. to secure our medical supply chains and reduce our reliance on the CCP by empowering the USTR to negotiate trade agreements for medical goods and services between the United States and the key allies. Do you believe bipartisan approaches like this can help protect biomanufacturing and allow these industries to grow in the United States as we move to reshape our trade relationships?
Most certainly, and I think one of the most important parts of that is working with our allies. If the U.S. tries to build a U.S. bioeconomy only to satisfy the U.S.'s needs, then it won't be able to scale or compete with what China's doing and with their network through Belt and Road and other activities. And so I think whenever we're contemplating trying to build a competitive economic, a durable competitive economic advantage over China, we need to not think of it just as the U.S. Domestic production to satisfy the U.S. market. It has to be how do we take advantage of allied European production, and how do we become not only the domestic production for the U.S. but also for the rest of the world. I think we see that in semiconductors. We see that certainly in biotech. And so it's a common formula that really we need to make sure that we're engaged with our allies and partners globally.
I think I'm going to go just a little on the side, but you know, those United States protectionism right now, they try to work with our allies, but at the same time, we are guarding our allies, work with others, such as like rare mineral earth that, you know, from like Malaysia, 95% goes to China. And then we are actually stopping. Those allies became like they're in so big debt. So we really have to work with allies. Our most important part that, you know, right now that administration has been pushing for these allies that, you know, not to work with, you know, other countries, but just work with us. But we are not really opening up that ourselves in this country, they're really causing a lot of problem that I think. So we really have to do little step-by-step working with these allies for any like, you know, chip industries or pharmaceutical industries and other industries, we really have to open ourselves up. So Dr. O'Toole, according to a report prepared for the U.S.-China Economic Security Review Commission, a handful of Chinese companies hold critical laboratory improvement amendments certifications, enabling Chinese companies to direct access to American medical and health data. That being the case, what questions can we ask CMS as an agency in charge of issuing CLIA certificates and enforcing regulatory compliance to ensure it does not greenlight bad actors to access sensitive data?
So this goes back to the need for much more robust biosecurity in guarding data. Certainly human data in particular and human clinical data is of particular concern, not just for privacy reasons, but it's very valuable for creating drugs that you could make a lot of money off of, among other things. So I think we definitely need to help CMS and demand that CMS increase their, it's a combination of bio and cybersecurity. We need a lot of digital data. We're going to definitely create these big data banks, And alongside that, in parallel, we have to develop cybersecurity provisions for these data caches that we really didn't think of as national security assets until recently.
My time's up, and I yield back.
Thank you.